Buongiorno a tutti, buongiorno Alfred.
Salve, Joita.
Next week I'll be sitting right next to you in Sicily, looking forward to it. But we have a real big topic to discuss, Alfred. The Italian Constitutional Courts reaffirmed that emergency decree passed by the Meloni government last October, essentially cutting off citizenship by blood to millions of people around the world, right? So it's now just your parent or grandparent born. That's the only line you can use. For over 100 years, people could use as many generations back as they could. It's a huge blow, Alfred, to millions of people.
Well, I mean, the fight's not over yet. That was a preliminary statement. It was very unusual that the court issued after the hearing. They'll have the formal uh, uh, report, so to speak, in about 4, 5, or 6 weeks' time. But for the court to put that out so quickly does not bode well for those who claimed and had been screaming online, especially the whole citizenship hustlers, attorneys out there, who've been screaming, quick, make a lawsuit right now that it's got to be affirmed. It's not, the constitutional issue is going to be going bye-bye, in my view. I don't think it's a very strong, I never thought it was a strong issue. So anyways, you're right. I agree.
Al, and let's take a look historically, right? Because at the turn of the century, late 1800s to about 1920-ish, World War I, millions of Italians left Italy seeking a better future in North America and Australia and Brazil and so forth. And a lot of those descendants right now have a dream to come back and get their citizenship for whatever reason. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But, it costs a lot of money to get these citizenships. You have to have a lot of documents, but for a lot of people, it's their dream.
Well, listen, here's what I want to say about that, if you don't mind, okay? I think the first question that I always ask folks when they call me up and do a consultation with me discussing the feasibility of their particular cases, why do you want to get an Italian citizenship? Why? What's the reason? Do you want to relocate here? And you could put them in different, categories of folks. Some people legitimately want to move here for a lot of reasons, okay? That's one. And for those people, I try to bend over backwards to help them, counseling them that the most important thing that Italy is looking for, especially this new conservative government, are those who are going to contribute and make it a better place, okay? However, there's a huge subset of people who want to come here simply to have what I call a trophy passport. In other words, to have a Italian passport, which automatically it makes you a member of the European Union, for reasons not connected with wanting to come to Italy and making it a better place. So there are two different types of people over here. And then you've got the third subcategory, not particularly those from the United States, but a lot of those from, say, other countries, whether there are various countries, for example, in South America. You have to understand that if everybody who wants to come here by blood, in fact, came here by blood, you're talking about another 70 million people. That would be over doubling what the current population is, okay? And a lot of these people from these other developing countries, they're coming here for the benefits, whether it's, insurance or whether it's the dole or whatever it is. But of course, Italy could not possibly afford to have those people. So they're trying to put some structure into the whole issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's millions, as you said, about 60 million could be eligible. And that's one of the issues that, not everyone is going to go for their Italian passport. but it happened from 2014 to 2024. It went from 4 million to about 6 million people seeking their citizenship. So the government was really overwhelmed, right? So that was one of the issues that caused this decree, because the consulates all over the United States, especially in Canada, were overwhelmed with the sheer number of people seeking their citizenship. And the other issue that came into play about this was fraud that you mentioned. So that's why they were trying to streamline. Now, as you said, Al, this is not the end of the story, but it is, people, I think, have this nostalgia that their grandparents or great grandparents left, and for whatever reason, they want their passport. But I think a lot of people don't realize that, what are the benefits of having an EU passport? Essentially, it allows you to stay in Italy and in the EU for longer than 90 days, right? So that's one of the big benefits of it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know. Listen, there are a lot of benefits. Obviously, the most benefit is you're a member of the European Union. You can work visa free in any of these countries that you want to remember. That's not the issue. That's not the issue. The issue is in getting bombarded by applicants and don't have a system in place.
oh, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Al. They're having major storms in Sicily, so stand by. Don't go anywhere, because this is a very important topic. I'm just going to say hello to some of our viewers. Peter Scipoletti, Solar Traveler B, and Don Green are here. We have Antonio. Let's see who else. Nick. Good morning. Got lots of great people here. All right.
Yes, we're in the process of having a big, huge thunderstorm, E. So I'm sorry
You're
about the
back.
disconnect.
Don't worry. All right,
Yeah.
honey. So you're saying,
So what I'm saying essentially is the fraud issue is enormous.
yeah.
It's they caught a bunch of people, 13 of them, as a matter of fact, red-handed in Naples area, lawyers, police officers, and immigration officers accepting fraudulent, counterfeit birth certificates, etc. So now they got to slow walk it, and it gave the Ministry of the Interior an opportunity to kind of gut the existing program. Now, I wanted to say one thing. This preliminary finding that the Constitutional Court had really hasn't really released the whole thing, but just, they put it kind of like, hey, this is what we're going to say once it comes out. This does not address the issue of 1948 cases, just so you know. This was about the other things, going back generational, and more importantly, can the government unilaterally change the law if they so desire? And the answer to that, according to what my interpretation of, and also a lot of constitutional scholars, is yeah, I think they could.
Alfred, when you talk about the 1948 case, can you explain? Because I think many of our viewers may not be very familiar.
When the Constitution was adopted in 48, they were discriminatory in their treatment of men versus women. They allowed people to use ancestors from the male side. However, for the women, if their ancestor was born before 1948 that they're alleging to use, uh, it got cut off. Okay, so basically that was discrimination there. People for 10 very so, I'm not worried about the age. I don't think age.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yeah. It's getting a little in and out, Al.
Uh,
Let's give Alfred a second to get there. Listen, I want to appreciate I want to say thank you for your patience. We are, Alfred is in Sicily and he is having a major storm. So let's see if he comes back because it's an important issue. Let's get him back here real quick. Let's see. Going around in circles. Okay, we'll wait. Ellen, thank you for your question. Do you think consulate offices will now be open up for appointments? Alfio.
Al, can you see me any better? Am I upside down here or what?
You're upside down. There you go. Let me
So
ask
what
you
I
this
did was
question.
I just switched to my American phone, Esther. I got off
Okay.
the Italian phone. And right about a minute ago, a thunderclap just hit us. It was so loud, the rest of my hair fell off. It was just crazy.
Now let me just explain for folks who don't know what you're contending, because the internet in Sicily, especially in our areas, is not as strong as many other areas. So we have to, sort of play this dance between using our house internet to using our phone internet. But I think right now, let's see how that is. Listen, Alfred, Ellen had a question. Do you think the consulate's offices will now open for appointments?
No, I don't. I think they got to slow walk it. And not only are they going to slow walk it, but what's going to end up happening is over here, there'll be another law coming down very shortly, by the way, which was part of the October thing, that if you're going to use this in the United States, your final interview will not be in the United States. It's going to be in Italy. It'll be in Rome. They're going
That's
to funnel everything to Italy. Okay. So the answer is no. They will use the consuls in the United States within a matter of time over here for primarily things like visas, for visas, okay? Especially the so-called retirement visa, the elective residency visa, as it's called, work visas, sport visas, etc. So I think the days of you gathering your documents right now, waiting in the queue, and then going there, I think those are going to be fundamentally changed. It's got to be a bumpy ride, okay? And
yeah.
I think folks needs to have patience while they get this whole thing set up. But ultimately, at the other end of this thing, it may be more fairer for all. Right now, if people are heartbroken, people have lost a lot of money, and a lot of the lawyers I call it the citizenship hustling lawyers who have taken huge amounts of money in advance. They're scrambling because they've spent the money, to be frank with you
Yeah.
about it, and they're keeping on putting these false illusions out there, and a lot of them are false illusions that it's imminent, that the courts are going to turn this over, that quick, give us some more money so we can make another lawsuit type of deal. Here's what I have to say to you, okay? Measure 9 times and cut once. You understand? Stop sending them money. Okay. Now, that being said, what can you do? Let's talk about, Esther. What can you do if you have all
Before
your documents?
before you go that, and that's
Yeah.
exactly where I want to do. I want to say good morning to Alfio Tropia, who
Uh,
just had a huge festival in Texas, and our dear friends Christine and Travis went there, and they realized that they had the group from Jeanette and her Texas group. They all did a tour together, so they had a great time. So that makes me very happy that our little community here, our little YouTube community, our little touring community, and our friends are meeting in person. So I'm happy about that. So, Alfred, we have viewers here, even from Costa Rica, of course, Massachusetts, Florida. We have Texas in the house. Alfred, I've talked to so many people of Italian descent who have this dream of walking the streets their great grandparents or their ancestors walked in, and um, certainly have this dream of having the same passport that their uh, grandparents, great grandparents, that, but if they cannot use that bloodline, there are other things that they can do. As you mentioned, the work visa, the retirement visa, the student visa. Let's talk a little bit about what possibilities are out there for people whose now dreams are essentially slashed.
Well, first of all, Esther, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about that subset of people right now who have completed everything. They have all their documents in their hand, okay? Everything, apostille, translated, everything, okay? Everything is, all the T's are crossed and all the I's dotted, but they can't get into the consulate for an appointment, okay? Let's talk about that group. They're ready. It's 100% ready, okay? So what they want to do, if they really want to become an Italian citizen, they need to come here. They need to be able to put 6 months or 7 months aside and come to Italy and apply in Italy. So when they say to me, hey, it's going to cost me $10,000 to do that, I say to them, well, how much do you think it would cost an Italian to go to the United States to become a United States citizen? Someplace between $15,000 and $25,000. So if you don't have that desire to come here and to get an apartment on a temporary basis, to go to a comune and file your paperwork and wait until it gets approved in Italy, then do you really want to become an Italian citizen? Okay? Or, as I said, is it going to be a trophy field to have that passport? You see, that's what they're trying to do right now. They're essentially saying, you want to become an Italian citizen? No problem. Okay, so next year you'll have to go to Rome. Okay, but if you want to come now, rent a place, get a residency card, get the temporary insurance, and we'll do that. So now that's the short answer for if you have your documents and you want to become a citizen now is you come here, because you cannot going to do it. You're not going to be able to do it in your local consulate. Now, to answer your question, what options do I have? I don't want to come to Italy. I can't do that. I'm 48 years old. I'm 50 years old. If you do not want to do that, under your American passport, you're still entitled to come here for 90 days, twice a year. So on any calendar year, it's on a rolling basis. You could still come to Italy for 180 days a year. You come 3 months, then you have to vacate the European Union for 3 months, but then you come back. So what are expats doing? Simple. They're coming here for 3 months, and then after they have to vacate, they go, say, to the UK, London, Wales, or they go to North Africa, where there's a large Italian communities in Tunisia, and then they come back. Okay, that's the second way. Or you can get what they call, if you're, approaching a retirement age and you have sufficient passive income, then you can apply for an elective residency visa. By that, I mean you need to show passive income of 31,000 euro a year, approximately. For 2 people, that'd be double that amount. Okay. And it's got to be passive income. So that doesn't mean cash in the bank. That means dividends. That means things like that, annuities, things like that. And you get yourself some insurance, which is about 2,000 euro a head per person. And you get yourself a lease. And then you can apply for that at your local consul. And what's good about that is after 5 years, there's a path for citizenship there.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a path for citizenship there. They'll give you a ERV for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. The drawback on that is you cannot work. Okay, you can't come here to get a job on an elective residency visa. It's a non-work type of a visa. Or you could try to get a job here. Okay, now what jobs are here? Very highly skilled jobs are still in demand here. So if you find, and there's a vibrant expat community of professionals here. You know, Esther, there's not that many folks like that in Italy. Maximum 20,000 in the whole country of Italy are American expatriates. As you know, in Sicily, there's a handful, only a few hundred. It's not like they're banging the doors down. They're not banging the doors down because for every one person that wants to come here to Sicily to relocate because of their grandparents or whatever, 2 Sicilians or 3 Sicilians are leaving because there aren't any jobs here.
Another problem, right? Because Italy is facing a very difficult situation because from this turn of the 19th century and continuing today, there's a massive exodus of that critical intellectual population in Italy, and the population is shrinking, and on top of that, the population is aging. So it's a very difficult situation. And so, many people, we have a great group of expats that are very active in their community. Jody DeLuca, Jerry, Jim, Anthony Campanella, they're very active, and, they contribute to the Italian Sicilian community, but I would venture to say not all of them. Now, let me just read a couple of things here. This was very interesting. I just have to put my glasses on. The preliminary letter skirted making decision on some of the claims by saying that the tribunal did not have standing to bring the claims, meaning another party with standing can bring a new case.
That's baloney. You know what these are? These are whistleblowers over here. Not whistleblowers. They're whistling in the wind. Okay? Believe me, the government is in charge right now. It's a conservative government. You don't think that behind the scenery over here, profound pressure has not been placed on the appropriate authorities by the Maloney government? Hello? Come on, okay? Salvini, for heaven's sakes, just got out of it, and they were brought criminal charges against him. Listen, believe what you want, okay? But I've studied this. I've been doing this for 20 years, okay? And everybody who has sought my advice and my law partner's advice for this, we don't blow smoke up anybody's butt. We tell them like it is. And a lot of times I'll end up in interviews saying, you want to know what? I don't think you're a good candidate. They'll get mad at me, but you want to know something? I don't particularly care if they get mad at me or not, because what we don't need to have wealthy senior citizens here. It's good to have wealthy senior citizens because they spend money. We need to have that critical mass of college-educated kids who are making $10 an hour right now, $12 an hour right now, cannot afford to buy a house, just like in the United States. That's the group we have to protect. That's the group we have to nurture, Esther. All right? So this is what this is about.
Sweetie Pie.
Yes.
I love how just immensely passionate you are about this topic. I can just see
really not. I mean, it's like I don't like people getting ripped off, Esther. Right now, I see a lot of these dishonest lawyers out there. They have videos, they have websites saying, come on, 14,000. Some of these guys are charging $15,000, right? Taking half up front and then a half in another 90 days. And these poor people in the United States who think that they're going to become citizens are not doing enough research, is what the problem is.
This is exactly why we're doing this video, and consumer beware, and you've been doing this over 20 years, I believe. Let me read this. This is Michelle and Joe are on here. Michelle was here for 9 months and was screwed by the change regarding the minor issue. We changed to a 1948 case. Hopefully, we will be successful. That's Joe
Good.
and Michelle.
I wish you the best of luck, too. I wish you the best of luck on a 1948 issue that it was not addressed in this hearing. Okay, that's still valid right now. Okay, and if you're bringing up, the problem is with that, you're going to find is after you get that court decision, all right, that says, hey, you're a citizen, and you go to the comune, or you even go to the questora and try to pick a passport, they're going to look like you have three heads. They're not going to know what that court decision means. So there are many sub steps that'll have to be done by you in order for you to relocate here. Just so you know that.
You know, the thing of it all is, you know, I'm so glad that we're doing this show because so many people have this dream and studied with thousands, I will say, of clients. So you know the ins and outs. So this is really good. Now, I want to say something. This is great. Oh, good to know. We are coming, and that's solidified my plan. Thank you, Alfred. We are doing exactly that. So already
You
we are
have to
helping.
come here. I mean, honestly, it'll
Travis,
cost you 10 grand by the time she's all done with it. And don't think that you're going to come here because, again, some of these hustlers out there are saying you're going to come in and in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, you're going to leave with a passport. That is complete bull feathers. Can't be done. Because once the comune accepts the stuff, it's got to go to Rome. It's got to go on the air thing. It's got to be documented that you are, in fact, a citizen. And they aren't rushing it. They're
yeah.
slow walking it over there. So you need to spend 6 months here. Go ahead.
Do you need to get the visa before you go to Italy for the consulate? Ellen from Canada.
Of course. And you present it when you come in, the visa, say you got an elective residency visa, and then within 8 days after entry, you've got to report to the questora and fill out a packet that you pick up at the post office. The yellow packet. It's a yellow, they call it the yellow packet. And you fill that out, and then boom, you're all set. If you miss that step, you'll be fined. You'll be fined. People get fined for that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
For me, it was an act of love and true respect for my Sicilian ancestors to go through the process of jure sanguinis. For those that truly want Italian citizenship, it requires patience and devotion. That's our friend Nick over there, whose family came from Marzala del Vallo. So
Great
spot on.
place.
He says, okay, Cindy Hansen says, I think there's a place between wanting a vanity passport and wanting to make Italy a better place for its own sake. Lots going on in the world politically. Hello, Alan Esther. Would a tradesperson HVAC be a good candidate for citizenship?
What did she say? I didn't catch that.
Would a tradesperson HVAC be a good candidate for citizenship?
Oh, if you have a specialized skill, I'm not sure that that type of trade is, I mean, say for example, if you're a brain surgeon, a computer, especially AI nowadays, if you have a PhD in AI or something like that, an advanced skill in thermodynamics or intelligence or something like that, you'll be able to get in. And again, let me just throw out one thing for you, okay? Do you have relatives in Italy that could help you grease the skids? That's profoundly important. If you know somebody, if you have a cousin or a distant cousin that is that knows the mayor of a town, right? And you go to that town to apply, the doors will open for you. It's like anything else. Who are you?
Different world.
Right. Sicilians are fundamentally suspicious when you have a small little town in the middle of nowhere, have an American walk in looking nice with paperwork, and the clerk, who doesn't know anything, probably can't speak English either, is saying, why does this Americano want to come to our crummy little town with all these vacancies and the only thing left are old people and young people? Why does that person want to come here? You are viewed with suspicion. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not like they're saying, "Hey, Bella Ciao, Chop, chop, chop. They're not doing that. They're saying, sorry, we don't know. Plus, more than anything else, those town clerks, you're talking about a union worker, a civil servant. You think she wants to goof around with paperwork that she's never done before and doesn't know how to do? So they'll turn you away. Not that easy.
Not that easy, and each town does it differently. We've heard many
Yeah.
reports that one community would be easier than others. Other, as you mentioned, the clerks don't know the law. That becomes a big problem as well. It's nice to see Dr. Rosemary here. We haven't seen her in a while. We're coming to a point where the rational response is to separate the pursuit of identity from Italian citizenship.
Well, I don't agree. I don't agree with Dr. Rosemary. Honestly, I don't, because your culture hasn't gone away. Dr. Rosemary, your culture is still that of your grandparents or your great grandparents. The things that you learned, your essence, your raison d'etre is the same. You can't tell me that some administrative law that Italy is doing right now is obviating that. It's not. Keep your heritage. Please keep your heritage. However, if you want to come here, you're going to have to play by the bureaucratic rules in its place. The very same rules that if you're a non-United States citizen and want to become a citizen in the United States has to play by. You see,
Yeah.
Elections have consequences. It's as simple as that.
Keep your heritage and practice it proudly in your home country, right? Even
Right.
though I was born in Hungary and, now live in Sicily, but I never lost my Hungarian identity, my Hungarian culture that will always be part of me, no matter what country I live around the world. Buona Domenica, we are traveling to Sicily in July. Can you provide some information on the new ETIS system and if our US passports need to contain an electronic chip? Thank you. God, that ETIS issue has been around, I would say now going on the third year. They keep saying that you're going to have this, but I'm not sure if you're going to
If
keep this.
you have a valid United States passport, you can travel here, okay? The worst case that will happen is they'll make you fill out, usually at the depot where you depart from, if there's any additional forms that you're going to need. They're not going to preclude you from coming. That's not going to happen. You got a valid US passport. Check your dates too on the passports. Okay, make sure it's valid. Your passport is valid. I think that's a pretty important thing
We can talk about that ETIS and putting some kind of a tax on it and an entry fee, but honestly, nothing has materialized quite yet.
Is it safe here? I'm surprised no one has asked you if it's safe here because of what's going on in Persia. The answer is yes, it is safe. Okay. I want to remind everybody listening to this program today, Italy is part of NATO. And under Article 5 of NATO, if Italy gets attacked, the entire NATO will respond. So yes, it is perfectly safe.
And
here.
people also been worried about the cyclone that devastated parts of the East Coast, but in a very centralized way. And even from here, I can see that the rebuilding and reopening of restaurants and so forth is going fast. We keep using the word resilient, but Sicilians really are resilient and they move forward. Alfred, good to see you today. This does not apply to me, but I have friends who have provided all necessary paperwork for the consulate and have been waiting for final approval. Are their cases still active? Great question.
Yeah, the answer is it goes back to the date that they were accepted by the consulate. Okay, so if they had an appointment and the consulate accepted them, they were transmitted by PEC email from the consulate in the state to the Ministry of the Interior. They're not going to do an ex post facto law after it's been accepted by the local consulate. Sorry, it doesn't account for you. It only applies for those who have not had their paperwork accepted. Okay. Now, listen, marry an Italian. You can get right in. Listen to me. All right. You want to get Italian citizenship. You really want to get Italian citizenship? Marry an Italian. Then you're not going to have a problem. What are you laughing about?
Oh my God. Okay. Good to see you. Okay, wait a sec. Uh, Question. What about those grandparents who became American citizens and gave up their Italian citizenship? We still go through them?
No. Gone. Child. See you later. If your grandfather gave up his Italian citizenship, that line is cut. Okay? That line is cut. Now, what happens if your father was an infant? Well, your father had a little time to reclaim it, but that's gone by too. The only way possibly is that if your father, for example, would come back here and spend a year here, he may be able to reclaim it. Okay? But nothing has changed for those rules. If someone has given up their Italian citizenship, they're not going to retroactively say, oh, that doesn't count anymore, because that does count. And before I go on, Esther, I want to say one thing right now. Did you know that today is the anniversary, today, of the largest lynching in American history, where 13 Sicilians were lynched in New Orleans? I think it was 1891, 1871, 1881.
Wow.
Right. And today is the anniversary. So isn't it kind of like ironic that we're talking about Americans now of the very extraction, the same extraction that those 13 Sicilians from, most of them were from Shaka, by the way, had, now talking about repatriating to Italy. I just think it's kind of prolific myself that today's the anniversary of that.
Ciao, Esther. Now I'm interested in renting in Sicily, as you all know. I wanted to come for 6 months next year when I retire to make sure I will, want to permanently move. What's the best? I can't read what it says. What's the best visa for that? What's the best visa for that?
Well, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to get what they call an extended stay visa, but you can come here for 3 months. All right. If you want to stay for 6 months, you can take a shot and try to get an extended stay visa, but those things are very difficult to get. Say, for example, if you had a medical condition and you have to stay here for that or something like that, but I think your best shot is come here for 90 days, leave, and then come back.
It's Roseanne Pusatari Rowe. My family and I applied to the New York City Consulate, had an appointment in 2011. We were denied because we needed to have an American court order.
Right. I'll explain that.
Even though we have a letter from the Comune of Palermo saying that.
All right. So here's what the story is, okay? A lot of people in Italy, when they came to the United States, had portions or all of their name slightly modified or changed, okay? A good example was a guy by the name of, say, Giuseppe Zappola. That was his name, Giuseppe, okay? He came to the United States, and all of a sudden, because Giuseppe was a funny name, and back in those days, people were discriminated because they said, oh, you're Italian, changed his name to Joe, okay? And then when he got married, it was Joe. And then when he had a kid, it was Joe. And then when he died, his death certificate says Joe. So now you have Joe, but the birth certificate that was issued in Italy says Giuseppe, okay? Now, Italian bureaucracy, the way it is, it's no good. Everything has got to match. So what you have to do is go to court, and you have to get a judicial declaration. It's called a one and the same order. You get it into an equity court, which says that Giuseppe and Joe are one and the same person. okay? And that's usually done by an affidavit, okay? You have to hire a lawyer who goes to court, any court, by the way, as long as it's a court, then that court holding order has got to be translated into Italian, it's got to be apostilled, and then you resubmit it. This way, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. Bureaucracy is satisfied.
I want to say thank you to Dr. Rosemary. She just became a YouTube member, and what it is, YouTube members, if you hit the join for $1.99 or $2.99 a month, you just help support this channel, and we do little extra behind the scenes things. So it's really great to see Dr. Rosemary, her and her
I hope
husband.
she's feeling better, and we miss her. She's also
really
a member of the board of directors of the Sicilian Project, as is Christine Harrison.
We're getting the elective residency visa retirement until I can get my dual citizenship. Great grandparents from Sicily. We are looking at a house in Gioiosa Marea area. See you guys soon.
Good. Good luck.
Let's see. Historical view says Italian citizenship for only those who have Italian ancestry on both. The lynching is it is a really sad period in history, isn't it?
For what?
I'm just reading some of these comments. Okay, here's another question. You may or may not know the question. I found my mom's birth certificate and marriage certificate, but could not find naturalization. She had green cards, so how would I find that? I don't think she had something.
Okay, that's got to be shown by an official document from the United States Immigration and Customs Services. You have to write to them. And you have to ask them for a paper called a certificate of non-existence. And then you wait about 6 months to get it. And basically, it's a letter from the United States Government Immigration and Naturalization Department that says, we've researched, and this person that you're looking for, we cannot find any citizenship paper about them. That's called a certificate of non-existence. So that's what they'll need. Some people try to use census forms. Census forms are secondary stuff, not primary stuff. So you have to get the immigration and naturalization document is what you want.
Alfio Torpea just sent me a link. March 14th, 1891 was the largest lynching in New Orleans. Indeed, a sad time for Sicilians in the United States. Alfred.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to coming back to the States. I've had a great time here in the United States, but it's time for me to come back pretty soon. Listen, do you have any final words? I know people thoroughly enjoyed this channel and this episode in particular, especially those who are looking to get their dual citizenship. So any final words of hope, of anything for people watching?
Well, here's what I want to say. I'm going to be back in the States from April 13th to April 28th this year, okay? On the 23rd of April, in Lawrence, Massachusetts, you and I, the Union Sicily, is sponsoring a meet and greet to benefit the Sicilian Project, which we have been working with, well, I've been working with it since inception, where we've trained over 2,000 students now into the joys of the English language for free, all right? So I'm going home to try to raise money to run another 4 or 5 classes this year. If you're in the New England area, come to Salvatore's Restaurant on Merrimack Street in Lawrence, Massachusetts from 5:30 to 8:30. The dinner is $35. It's a great meal that my friend Mike puts around. If you want a donation or if you want to buy a ticket to come, go to our website. www.thesicilianproject.com. And let me announce something else to you as well before I get hung up here by Esther. We did a very big job on the hurricane relief. We've raised nearly $40,000. We've given away most of it, okay? Right now, we're waiting for until Esther comes back. There's a couple of places that Esther has got to, she knows about it, that she's got to finish up. However, the president of the Sicilian Project and myself decided that we were going to start another fund called the Disaster Relief Fund, which is right on the front page there, for a future disaster. So we will have monies available immediately to help people. So if you like this little free little thing for you, all right, so to speak, go to thesicilianproject.com and either come to the meet and greet or make a donation to the General Relief Fund, the Disaster Relief Fund, for us too. And by the way, for those of you who purchased my latest book, My 75-Year-Old Sicilian Life, bring the book with you and I'll autograph it for you if you want on the 23rd. So that's what I wanted to say, Esther. And by the way, you look beautiful. You look beautiful, Esther.
Very proud to be part of the Sicilian Project, and I'm excited to start our tours, and we still have some spots in our May and June tours for those of you guys who are wanting to tour Sicily. We've got lots of those going on, and I think let's end right there. We've got a beefy and substantial episode today, so let people digest some things, and we thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and buona domenica.
Grazie per tutti e sa bene dica, huh? Ciao. Thank you, Esther, for having me. I appreciate it.